Hey, what's up guys? I just want to start the video off by saying thank you for all the overwhelming support I've been getting recently. It's crazy how far we've gone from like literally 5k views to like 400k views and like 8k subs, man. It's crazy out here. Let's hope this video gets us to 10k subs. I'm going to continue putting out videos that are just straight up informative. My upload rate might not be like the fastest out of all the YouTubers, but I want to make this channel and my brand just basically no bullshit and hopefully be as informative as I can so the Valorant community grows as fast as we can. Alright, so over the couple of months that I've played this game, I think the biggest struggle that a lot of people have are either long range shots or things that are like super close range. Hopefully this video can help you guys develop better habits and allow you to get those long range and short range kills consistently. So I'm going to break this video down into two major parts. Obviously, I'm just going to be talking about long range shots and short range shots and the gunplay mechanics required to basically frag more consistently at those ranges. I'll also provide a little routine or little exercises that basically help you train for those ranges, so hopefully you guys can get better over time. So let's start with long distance fragging. I'm gonna talk about the difficulties behind why you're basically missing these shots, and then I'm gonna talk to you guys about the solution. So I think one of the biggest reasons a lot of people miss these shots is simply that when people are further away, technically there are actually less pixels on your screen for you to actually hit. Because there are less pixels for you to shoot, any movement done by the enemy actually forces you to readjust your crosshair just a little bit. Any small adjustment in the middle of a fight can actually mean winning or losing that fight. So another issue about long range fights is that you're not able to actually spray at all, because it's impossible to spray control in this game due to the RNG factor of the bloom. With all these things stacked against you, long range fights can be difficult and inconsistent, but here are some tips and solutions to basically have better mechanics in these long range fights. First, I think you should be patient with each shot and make sure everything lands. Being accurate is way more important than being fast in this situation. Always try to tap your shots as well. It's really difficult to spray in these long range situations. You'll be more consistent in the long run if you just practice tapping. So a lot of people actually have fear of fighting long range. Now I got a good counter and like kind of a mental thing for you. I mean, if it's hard for you to hit the enemy, it's most likely also difficult for the enemy to hit you. So if you're gonna take your time hitting your shots, they also have to take their time hitting theirs. Whoever is more accurate in these fights are probably gonna take the frag. So pre-aiming in these situations are actually really important. Minimizing as much mouse movement as possible is probably ideal. Because of these long range situations, micro adjustments can basically screw you over really hard in these fights. Go into the custom and basically have some pre-aim lineups ready when you're peaking long range fights. Any amount of time saved aiming is an advantage for you during the fight. So some people actually overshoot with their mouse. Some people might not have that raw aim control down. A technique you guys can use is actually movement to aim. So if you're just basically moving left and right AD to aim and counter strafe with it, you can make these small micro adjustments more consistently. While you're doing that, you're actually dodging at the same time, so you're forcing the enemy to also micro adjust. Of course, the limitations of this technique is that your speed of aiming is limited towards your character's movement, but it's by far one of the most accurate things you can do in a long range fight. So I want to talk a little bit about gun selection as well. Personally, I think the Phantom is just a better gun overall, and for my role entry fragger, I usually find myself in more of a close combat situation. I do end up buying the Phantom most of the time, although there are times that I have to fight using the Phantom in a long range situation. When that does happen, I really do focus on tapping and basically trying to go for the head still. In a long range situation, the Phantom is actually able to one shot in the head if you actually aim towards the chest/neck area and you allow the recoil to just basically bring it up to the face. It's not really a one shot, but it's definitely a one burst. For the Vandal, I just say tap tap tap, that's about it. I don't really use the Vandal that much because I'm in close range situations, but I mean it's still a really good gun in the long range. It's one shot to the head, so that speaks for itself, I guess. I wouldn't spray or even burst with the Vandal personally. I would literally just one tap. It's pretty accurate overall, and if you get the rhythm right, like tap tap tap, it's actually 100% accuracy. As for aiming down sight, I personally don't use it just because it limits my movement, and if I'm slow, I just become an easier target. Sure, there's more pixels to work with because you're zooming in when you're aiming down sight, but I just don't see the value of it at the end of the day. You can use it, some people make it work, but personally I don't use it. So for routines to improve on long range situations, on Kovaaks I actually suggest going to 1 wall 6 targets small. I'll have that in the description below. And for all these aim labs people out there, I know of you guys are leaving them comments asking for an aim labs routine. I suggest using Sixshot Ultimate, and that's basically the same thing. While you're doing this though, I suggest being super accurate with things. Have an above 95% accuracy. To do that, make sure the target is in the middle of your crosshair before you shoot every single time. That way, it forces you to take your time and basically control your mouse and practice your micro adjustments. Right after you're done shooting a target, make sure you switch to the next target right away as fast as you can. This basically practices your flicks at the same time as well, but it's okay if you don't land your flick shot. What's important is that you make a micro adjustment afterwards to make sure you get that 95% accuracy. Remember, if the circle is not in the center of your crosshair, don't shoot. Alright, now in the practice range, what I would suggest is actually having medium bots and going to the back wall of the practice range and just practicing off of that. Again, same concept. Have the center of your crosshair on their head before you shoot every single time. Try not to miss any shots whatsoever. Honestly, if medium is also too fast for you, you're more than welcome to switch it to easy mode until you're ready for that medium. Hit 25 for easy and then move up to medium afterwards. Another thing you can do in the range is have all the practice bots out and just use your AD movement to counter strafe and try to hit the heads after. Again, make sure before you shoot, have their head in the center of your crosshair. We want slow and patient shots, high accuracy only. Alright, now we're on to the topic of short range fragging. Now, I don't want you guys to have a misconception about close range. It's not just about a bit of space, it's like no space at all, like shotgun range distance. Sometimes those fights can be so scuffed and so messy, but you just have to take them sometimes. Like, it's literally point blank sword fighting. It's fucked up, man. So I see a lot of people actually whiff these shots a lot, and to be honest, there are instances that, you know, this happens, accidents happen. But you have to understand that this is basically a positional error. You have to come to acceptance of that and basically improve your positioning so you don't take these fights. These fights sometimes become a 50-50 coin flip, and that's not what you want. You want to always be above 50%. So let's talk about how this actually happens. When you're approaching a corner and basically you don't check a corner, the guy whiffs behind you and you turn around and manage to either you get the kill or he gets the kill. Or there's another instance of where you're basically both running into a smoke and you either run past each other or you meet in the smoke. So a solution to the first event that could happen is basically just check all your corners when you're pushing. But while you're checking the corners, I suggest basically giving yourself a little bit of space. You want to have peeker's advantage on your side, and you want to have basically distance away from the wall so you see their shoulder before they see your shoulder. So if you don't understand that concept, check out the video that I made. I'll put the link in the description below and the timestamp, which you can go to. So a solution to the second instance is basically just don't push through smoke, but I understand that sometimes you just have to do it for your team and to basically get map control. An alternative is that if you play a character with a molly, just molly the smoke and just kind of wait. Once the smoke dissipates, hopefully you can get a free frag like that. So let's talk about the mechanical difficulties of why you miss these shots. So one thing is that the enemy is actually moving really fast. Even though they're just gliding left and right, the amount of movement you have to make with your mouse is actually a really big distance comparatively to the long range. A long range fight just has micro adjustments, but a close range fight actually requires you to swing your mouse. So this obviously affects people with lower sensitivity because the bigger the range of motion, the more difficult it is. Maybe you lack mouse pad space or whatever it is, it's just more difficult. I understand that. So a solution to this is that mechanically you should be using your arm to aim majority of the time. Assuming your sensitivity isn't crazy fucking fast and, you know, a normal person's sensitivity, you should be swiping your arms and the motion should be only coming out of your elbow. Micro adjustments for shots at long range are used primarily with wrist, but this should primarily be used with arm. If by chance you basically over flick or under flick, you should always adjust using your wrist afterwards. So while you're taking these fights, your eyes should always be focused on the target and not really your crosshair. Doing this allows you to have a more accurate flick and it won't really make you overshoot or undershoot too often. So let's start with the aim trainer exercises I recommend doing. So for Kovaaks, I recommend doing the pressure aiming 7 targets. And also any of the close range tracking routines. Now I would suggest starting with the long strafes first and then going into the fast strafes after. The entire time while you're doing these exercises, I recommend just following the target with your eyes and not really look at the crosshair too often. After that, the big boss for Kovaaks is the close fast strafes shotgun. If you can get good scores for that, man, I'd be really scared to fight you close range. So for aim labs, personally, I don't really use it, so I would just go with circle shot. That's the best exercise I can see that kind of reflects what tracking movement with the eyes close range is all about. You know, if you guys find new things, please leave a comment, and basically I'll highlight that comment and put it in the description afterwards. I'm just not too knowledgeable with aim labs, unfortunately. So for the practice range, what I usually do is I go into the back wall with the Phantom, and I basically just try to pop the head as fast as I can. Just be really close to the bots and just basically try to pop their heads. Now once I get bored, what I do is I do a spray transfer. I hit one target and I quickly spray transfer to a second in close range, and I just basically do it in a rhythm of 2s. Make sure to basically keep your eyes on the bots instead of the crosshair. That's how you're gonna be more accurate over time and faster over time. Alright, so for all these routines that I've been recommending, you know, spend, I don't know how much time you guys want. Personally, I had a lot of trouble with long range shots, so I spent like 15 to 20 minutes warming up those specific sections of my aim. You know, just improve on your weaknesses, guys. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, leave a like, comment, or subscribe, do whatever you want. Send this video to a friend, do whatever, man. Try to check out my Twitch if you can. I basically stream Monday to Friday, if not Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Alright, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.